What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of See It Like Strev. You guys see the fit. This is not the usual attire. No hat. Got the collared shirt on. I just got off NBC here in Phoenix, Channel 12, doing some really exciting things. I told you guys on social media this week I've got some awesome broadcasting opportunities that have been rolling in. That's one of them. Got some really exciting stuff getting cooked up. Got some awesome interviews lined up this week as well. So keep your eyes peeled. You guys see me getting business casual right here, man. This ain't quite black tie, but this is about as cleaned up as I get. So you guys are getting the professional See It Like Strev tonight. Let's get into CFL Week 12. We had some outstanding games. We started Thursday night, Ottawa going to Montreal. Montreal wins 46-16. This was the largest spread going into a game this season. I think Montreal was like a 14 or 15 point favorite. It was crazy. Clearly the best team in the league versus clearly the worst team in the league. Alexander, Tyson Philpot. What more is there to say about this dynamic duo? They are the best QB wide receiver duo this league has seen, honestly, in a long time. Philpot's on a record-breaking pace. Alexander's on pace for over 6,000 yards. It's absolutely ridiculous what these guys are doing. And Tyson gets in the end zone another 2 times this week. That puts him at 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. They are electric, and they always seem to make explosive plays, and Tyson is addicted to getting in the end zone. And Travis Tice, their offensive balance is amazing. He has another 88 yards on the ground and a touchdown. He looks like one of the best running backs in the league, the way that he's come on and really supplemented that offensive explosive passing game that Montreal has. It's really been a big benefit for their team. Davis said after the game that this is the most special thing he's ever been a part of in his football career, and I believe it, man. It looks like these guys are really, truly having fun out there. The way they play the game, they play hard, and just knowing the way that team operates a little bit in the locker room, getting to know those guys, I know they're having a blast going out and winning games in front of that fan base. On the other side of things, Ottawa falls to 0-10. I mean, it's tough. It's like everything that goes wrong for them can go wrong, does go wrong for them. It looks like they have control of this game early. They jump out. It's like, wow, Ottawa might hang around this game. And then they drop a hold on a field goal and completely give the momentum back to Montreal. And from there, Montreal really never looked back. 3 combined interceptions between Jake Mayer and MBT when they end up putting him in. I've been standing on the table saying Jake Mayer's not the problem. At a certain point, they're going to have to go to MBT. 0-10 is tough. They're making a bunch of changes in the front office and administratively. I just think they're going to go for a whole overhaul. And like I've said, they need to be looking ahead to next year and saying, all right, who can we build around? Who are some of these puzzle pieces that are going to be important to us, getting this thing turned around in the right direction? On the bright side, Greg Bell had one of his best games. He had 8 carries for 55 yards. I'd love to see him get double-digit carries in these next couple weeks, just really starting to establish a run game. I think that's going to give that team some balance that is much needed on offense. If they want to get a win, they have to avoid costly penalties and turnovers. Pimpleton has a big return that gets negated because of holding. They've got to win the turnover battle, and they've got to generate some type of explosive on defense or special teams. And really, I think it's a matter of if they can just go get a win and prove to themselves that they can win, it might start to snowball, and they might get a couple more by the end of the year. But we know Dinwiddie's going to be there next year. They've already come out and kind of said that. So they got to start planning around some of these players that they can build around moving forward. But another big win for Montreal. They're rolling, best team in the league. Ottawa still looking for their first. Friday night, Winnipeg went to Edmonton. Edmonton wins 22-19. Winnipeg controlled the first half of this football game. They were up 16-6 at halftime, and it looked like it could have been much more. They had a turnover and downs on 3rd and 3 from the 5-yard line, and the next play, Edmonton comes out with an explosive play. But that's what great teams do. They make you pay. You can't have self-inflicted wounds and fall off. A great team's going to make their plays and make you pay on the back end. Winnipeg actually took the ball away from Edmonton a few times in the first half. They had Brady Oliveira rolling in the first half. He finished with 118 yards on the ground, but most of those yards came in the first half. They let it slip away in the second half. They only had 2 first downs on offense, and it's like that whole theme of getting away from the run game in the second half, it kind of happened again. Brady Oliveira is their best player. They got to ride the running game. They got to continue to feed him the ball. And it was kind of the opposite for Edmonton on offense. Rankin, 2 carries in the first half, then ends with 93 on the ground and 48 yards through the air. They really got him going in the second half, which I was surprised they didn't ride him a little bit harder early in the game, considering how much Winnipeg has struggled against the run so far this year. Winnipeg, late in the game, they go down, they put a drive together, go tie it up, and then Edmonton comes back and answers. Blanchard with the game-winning field goal. He's looking like a outstanding kicker right now, one of the best in the league. Sergio Castillo, shout out to him, man, breaks the record for the most 50-yard field goals in a season. I think he's at like 42 in his career, so that's an awesome accomplishment. I've always told him he's the best kicker in the league, and I still stand by that. But this looked like a missed opportunity for Winnipeg. They could have moved to 4-6 within one game of Edmonton. Instead, Edmonton moves to 8-3 with a commanding lead in the West after Sask dropped their game against BC. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But again, Edmonton's sitting at first in the West. They have the season series on Winnipeg. That's just a huge swing in the standings. Great teams finish and know how to win at the end of games, and that's exactly what Edmonton did and Winnipeg did not do this week. On Saturday, we had Hamilton going to Toronto. Toronto wins 39-20, and it was a nasty, sloppy, rainy game. It was crazy on TV. Like, sometimes you can't really tell if it's raining. This was a game you could 100% tell it was raining. The camera was covered. Guys were sopping wet, no gloves. But I honestly, I think these quarterbacks actually threw the ball pretty well considering how rainy it was. Chad Kelly goes for 289 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Trey Ford goes for 356 yards in the air, one of his best games statistically. I've also got to talk about the Toronto game day atmosphere. I love seeing people at the Toronto games, even if it's raining, to have fans turn out the way they did. It was pretty impressive. They've also got those new suites behind one of the end zones, which I think is fantastic. We talk about how do you get people out to CFL games. You have to improve the game day environment, the game day experience, and I think Toronto doing things like that, giving their upper deck deal on $40 all you can eat, brand new suites, that improves the game day environment. And I really am optimistic that that's going to help improve attendance at these Toronto games. Again, that big of a city, there's no reason we shouldn't be getting 20,000 at least consistently coming out to those games. You look at the way this game played out. Hamilton started really slow and let Toronto kind of get out on them 12-0, but then Hamilton climbs back and they actually led at halftime 17-15, but then they only score 3 points in the second half. They completely fall off and let Toronto and their offense get rolling, cutting guys loose in the back end. They had some mix-ups and some missed assignments on some double moves and things like that where Toronto was able to get some easy ones, and just disappointing for Hamilton to be in control going into halftime and then really do nothing in the second half offensively. The Toronto defense actually showed up pretty well. Sean Lemon still doing it. What an addition he has been to that football team. He had another 2 sacks, the big strip sack in the fourth quarter, and I think he's 1 or 2 sacks away from moving to 10th all-time in the CFL. He has an outstanding career. He's in his 3rd stint with Toronto. That just tells you the journey that he's been on. He was in Montreal last year as well. Sean Lemon, OG, legend of the CFL. I'm hoping to get him on the show very soon and hear from him. And I'll say it again. When you look at this Toronto offense, they look like they may have the most talented receiving core in the league. Coxie had another 2 touchdowns. Common with 75 yards. Mittal, 53 in a tub. Herslow, man, they're good. They're talented, and they spread the ball around. Even in the rain, Chad Kelly's slinging it around. He goes for, again, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. And if he can do that consistently, 1 interception, and facilitate the ball the way he did, that Toronto was a good team. Toronto is a good team. They can get second in the East, have a home playoff game, and be rolling. Make it to the East final, and then who knows what happens, right? So if he can take care of the ball and they can play clean football, and that defense can continue to get stops the way they have, Toronto could be a decent team heading into the playoffs, because ultimately you're going to have to get second in the East more than likely to make the playoffs. It's looking like there's going to be a crossover coming from the West. Sunday night, last game of the weekend, Sask going to BC. BC wins 30-16. BC just looks different right now. We've been saying it for a couple weeks, and especially after the Calgary game, like they're turning a corner here, and they've strung together a really nice little winning streak. And this is the run that we've talked about. This is what happens with BC. They just start a little bit slow, and then they just put it together at the right time, halfway through the season, and they're rolling. They look like if they keep playing like this, they could be a contender. Nathan Rourke, when he's out there for this team, he just adds such a different element. He goes for 355 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, a big explosive 20-yard run. He's just a guy that seems to elevate everybody on their team, including the defense, their whole receiving core. Katoy, huge game, goes for over 100 in a tub. Getting Hatcher the ball. Barry Hill has a huge play. McInnes is involved. The way that they're able to facilitate the ball with Nathan Rourke out there is impressive, and it really allows them to utilize their strengths on offense. And you're seeing more balance with this BC run game, with Xander Horvath really stepping up the way that he has. And when you have that balance in the run game, it opens up a lot more opportunities in the RPO and the play action game, and you saw that come to fruition. So many big explosive plays off the RPOs. Couple big explosive plays off of the play action. That balance in the run game, I've been standing on the table saying it all season, they needed that, and they have that now, and they look like a much better team offensively because of it. Their defense also looks different as well. Looks like they're trying to disguise some more looks with some late rotation. They're playing a little bit more true zone instead of match, which can kind of turn a little bit more man coverage like. I think that true zone's a little bit more fitted for what their defense is doing, but credit to their players, credit to their defensive coordinator, switching around the scheme, putting guys in positions to be successful, and credit to their players for sticking with it, man. They're making their plays now, getting turnovers, getting takeaways, getting off the field, and getting that ball back to their offense. And if that defense can continue to do that, they had 2 interceptions on Trevor Harris, who does not turn the ball over. They forced a fumble before halftime, which was a 3 to 7 point swing, depending on how it was going to play out. That defense is taking advantage of their opportunities, and because of it, BC looks like a much, much better team. Sask, on the other side of things, it was just turnovers and bad mistakes, penalties at bad times. They let BC extend drives, turning the ball over. That's just not the Sask team we've been used to seeing. So I think they're going to be fine, but they just can't have those mistakes. They're going to have to get those things corrected, especially as they get into the playoffs and deeper into the season. Their defense looks a little bit more susceptible right now, so tightening that up a little bit. They're now 2 games back from Edmonton in the West, so they're going to have to get going heading into the Labor Day Classic here in a couple weeks with Winnipeg and then the Banjo Bowl. So they've got a tough stretch of games coming up. They're going to be okay. They're still a very well-rounded team. They're going to take care of the ball. They're super well coached with Corey Mace. They're not going to have those penalties. They're going to continue to address that, correct it, and continue to get better. Let's get into the most prestigious award in the CFL week in and week out. And look, this guy missed a little bit of time earlier this year, and his team struggled because of it. But he's right back, and he's right back to his old form. He's one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the CFL. He's getting it done through the air and the ground. He's one of the best off-schedule and RPO throwers in the game, and he has the BC Lions looking like a true contender in the West, the team that we expected to see them be this season. He is last year's MOP and MOC, Nathan Rourke. It is awesome to see you back out there balling, making plays the way that we're used to seeing, and you are seeing it, man. Keep going. Let's look ahead to this coming week of games. Friday, we got Montreal going to Winnipeg. This is a really good game. Winnipeg's always a tough place to play. It's going to be a rocking crowd. They always show up. Montreal, we've said it all about them. They are the best team in the league, the most balanced team in the league. Even their defense is stepping up and getting takeaways. So they look really, really good. Winnipeg, game 2 of a very hard 4-game stretch, and they got to win a couple games in this stretch to kind of stay competitive in the West here. So I think Winnipeg's going to have to play coverage on defense, maybe drop 8 and try to keep everything in front of them, because you just cannot let this Montreal offense have these explosive down the field plays, make them earn it, make them go piece by piece, and try to get a couple takeaways here. And it's all about what half offense are we going to get from Winnipeg too? Are we going to get the first half offense that we saw in Edmonton, or the second half offense? They've been so up and down. If they can get some consistency offensively, they're going to have a chance. Saturday, we got Hamilton going to Calgary. These 2 teams that need a win pretty bad. Hamilton lost to Toronto this past week, as we just talked about. And again, you're going to have to get to second in the East to make the playoffs. That's what they're looking to do to stay in contention there. Calgary, seeing Winnipeg ahead of them, seeing BC rolling the way that they are, they got to get back on track coming off the bye after a couple tough losses. Again, what Calgary team we're going to get? Are we going to get the Calgary team that rolls Winnipeg and puts 52 points on them, or the team that lets it go against BC and has lost a couple games that they probably should have won, including that Toronto game earlier in the season? We got Toronto going to Sask on Saturday. Sask, again, looking to regroup after that loss to BC. They're going against a Toronto team that played them tough early in the year and actually won in Sask's barn. So going to be interesting to see how that team matches up, especially with Sask defense looking a little bit more susceptible, but it's all going to come down to if Sask can take care of the ball. Same thing with, Sask and Toronto. Can both of those teams take care of the ball? Toronto, their MO has been turning the ball over this season, so if they can take care of it like they did this week against Hamilton, they're going to be a great team. And then Sask getting rid of some of those costly penalties and hanging on to the football on their end as well. And then Sunday, last game of the weekend, BC going to Ottawa. BC's looking to keep rolling on this win streak they've got going, and Ottawa trying to get their first win of the year, get back on track. Guys, the CFL season, it is a marathon of a season, guys, and it's all about who's peaking at the right time. We're seeing it kind of fluctuate in the league, especially in the middle of these divisions. I'm excited to keep this train rolling. And like I said, I have some amazing interviews lined up for this week, both in the CFL and the NFL. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And as always, guys, that's how you see it like Strev.